many times I could have lost my life drinking and driving, and being in bar fights back then, I remember cracking on somebody over the head with a 40-ounce, big brawl breaking out. We're in there
Damn.
just shit going everywhere. It was at a concert. I mean, just all those type of things. I
Wild.
was just wild. I was angry. I was an angry adult because of my childhood. And all that toxicness and all those things that I've witnessed and all that, it just made me an angry person, and it was hard to get out of that too, because I hated myself. And that's why I
Yeah.
drank.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hated myself and
Yeah.
I hated my life and I hated the things that I was doing. But alcohol cured all that. When I get drunk, okay, let's go again.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm okay.
I'm okay. These consequences are nothing. I always get out of them. I'll do it again.
Okay, we're back with another episode of Get a Grip podcast. We have James Witherspoon with us, local here to Columbus, Ohio. James, thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Much
I appreciate it.
appreciated.
Yes, sir.
We were speaking a little bit beforehand, and I know you grew up in Detroit.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about your childhood and what molded you into the adult you are today.
All right. I grew up in Detroit. And the story goes that my father, he was in the Navy, and he got thrown out of the Navy for drunk and stealing a car and stuff like that. He hitchhiked to Detroit. He got a job at the Uniroyal Tire Plant. He rented a room and got groceries free. And then eventually, continued to work. And as soon as I was born, he came to get me and my mother from Cincinnati.
Okay.
We moved up there, and from my earliest memories, like, we lived in like a one-bedroom apartment on a pretty bad part of town. And I remember this guy, my mom would go check the mail, and this guy was harassing my mom, like trying to get her to come up to his apartment and stuff.
Right.
And I remember, my dad coming home and she telling him, and he went up the steps, pulled a gun on this guy, put it to his head, and told him, if you talk to my wife again, I'll kill you.
Damn.
And so next thing you know, the police are there. They're tearing our apartment up and, going through looking for the gun.
Finally called the cops.
Dude called the cops. Finally found the gun and hauled my dad off to jail. But I don't remember him being gone that long. Like,
Really?
back then. So, but that was kind of the neighborhood we lived in. I remember we got robbed in like a restaurant, standing in line at a restaurant for fast food. They laid us all down, took my mom's purse. They was taking jewelry off everybody.
Damn.
And, yeah.
It's a rough neighborhood for sure.
It was a rough neighborhood, that first neighborhood we lived in, yeah.
What was that like watching your dad go to jail at such a young age?
It was traumatizing. I mean, like, and just to see him pull a gun, the dude pissed himself. I mean, it was, and that wasn't the last time I seen my dad pull a gun on somebody, you know. So he was that way.
He was the real deal, yeah.
He was the real deal, and he, I heard there was always screams in the apartment. Him beating my mom, he did that regularly, and he beat us regularly. But like, my mom shielded a lot of that from us. She would take the blame for things if we broke something in the house or, just different things. She would take all the blame and just take all the punishment as much as she could. But he still,
That's rough.
Yeah, he still did that to us.
That is a rough way to grow up. How was school? Did you go to school?
I did go to school. Eventually, my dad got sober for like a little while, I think, and moved us into a better part of Detroit. And so it was a better neighborhood, more diverse. It was like kind of like a suburb, like the west side of Columbus.
Okay.
I went to school. I got bullied a lot in school there as a youngster.
For what?
Just
anything?
Yeah, just bullied, man. And I hated to go to school at that point. Like, I really did, but I went. I remember crying at school because the bullying was so bad. And so I made it through there, and it was better. It was better. I had a nice set of friends in the neighborhood, and we did a lot of things, played sports. But at that point, I started to get into stuff. Like, one time I found some matches, and I'm out, and I built like a fire in this field, but it caught the house on fire. The police came, picked me up,
Shit.
brought me to the house. That was my first time ever in a cop car. So like,
Caught a house on fire.
yeah, it just spread so quickly.
You didn't know what to do.
I didn't know what to
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
I'm just standing there, and somebody called the police. The fire trucks came, and they took me around to the house. I got a pretty good beating for that one. So
The police didn't do anything.
no,
They
they just
stop fucking around with fire.
and took me to my
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I started becoming a kid that never wanted to go in the house because of all the abuse and stuff that was going on. And so I would stay out till the last kid was with me and they had to go in. Or I'd try to spend the night at different people's houses and, so I didn't have to go home as much as possible.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks.
And then the second incident was at this house. Apparently, like my dad was fooling around with somebody's woman, and so we're sitting there watching TV, all of us, just a normal day. My dad's drinking
As a family.
as a family, just
Yep,
my
sitting there
dad's
hanging
drinking,
out.
yep, hanging out, normal day. We hear a knock at the door, and so my mom gets up to answer it, and this dude kicks the door in, boom, knocks my mom back. She flies across the room. My dad runs in, grabs his rifle, comes out.
It was rifle?
He had a rifle. He points the rifle at this guy and tells him, get out of here. Don't move. And this guy's he seemed like out of his head too, like he was on something.
Yeah.
And he just keeps stepping towards my dad. Well, my dad pulls the trigger and it clicks. And so he turned it around and hit him in the head with it. The guy falls down. He's just pounding away at this guy's head with the butt of the rifle.
Damn.
Police pull up. The neighbors come running over. Stop! You're gonna kill him. And
But he's really in the right
He
this
was in the-
time. He's defending his home and his wife.
yeah.
His
So the police
child.
came in. They wheeled the guy out, and they told my dad come down and file a complaint.
Yeah, and that was that.
Yeah, that was that. But to see blood flying
Oh,
off
I'm sure for
at
you
like an
it
8 or
was
9 year old,
unbelievable.
yeah. So
I'm sure that was like very strange to watch.
Yeah.
As an 8-year-old.
and I didn't find out till later, like he had been messing with this guy's wife,
Right.
and,
Why it happened.
yeah.
You
But
just-
there was always motorcycles at the house. My dad was in a motorcycle gang, and
Oh, really?
yeah, they was always at the house and drinking and partying, and they would always mess with us, being kids. Come get a drink, or there was always drugs on the table, and
Really?
yeah. But those, and also in those years, I didn't want to be like him, and I think that's what made me not during those times as a kid and even a teenager.
Use.
I just didn't want to be like him. I hated him.
Yeah.
I love him too. That's
Yeah,
my dad.
yeah,
And he's
of course.
since passed away, but I love him. But I hated him at that time.
And that's understandable as a young kid. The things you're witnessing, not wanting to be like that, and wanting to be the opposite. Be
Yes.
a good person,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Makes total sense.
Yes.
Take us to your first drink.
Okay,
and
so
drug.
then we moved. When my dad lost his job, it was the auto industry time in Detroit, and everything was shutting down there. And so
What year was that?
it was around 84.
Okay.
No, probably 82, 83,
Okay.
when he had lost his job at Uniroyal and the autos was moving out and everything. And so we moved to Cincinnati. That's where my grandparents stayed. So we'd always go back to there. And, I did fairly well in school, and I graduated. I was always smart. I knew I was smart, but I didn't go to school. I would get a study hall. I would do all my homework in study hall, turn it in, and dip. And so my mom would always ask me, "Where's your books? Where's your books?" And I did all my homework.
You were smart enough to just kind of not really give 100%.
And participate.
But you could still get good
Yes.
grades, decent
Yes.
grades.
Yeah.
I was the same way.
Yeah. So I wind up getting accepted to Ohio State.
Wow.
Yeah. And so my dad and all of us, he stopped drinking at this time. Like he had stopped and he was going through a lot of mental health stuff too. And I think a lot of that stuff was undiagnosed and stuff, and hence for his drinking. And so he was starting to address some of that now and not drink as much. And so we all came to Ohio State. I went to the orientation, and I said, it's too big for me. I can't do it.
Really?
Yeah. I was like 100
It's
kids.
huge, yeah.
There was like 100 kids in this auditorium, in the 80s.
The campus is massive.
I was like, it's too overwhelming. I can't do it. And so that was a disappointing ride home for my parents because they was excited, me obviously. And I'm at home just kind of working at a grocery store, and I see a DeVry thing on a commercial.
Yep.
I call them. A recruiter comes. We set it all up, and I think I can handle that. It's smaller. It's computers. Computers, the wave of the future.
Yep.
Here's my career.
Perfect.
So I signed up. The recruiter comes and gets me. My dad calls me downstairs. I'm getting ready to leave to come to Columbus. I pack my stuff up. My dad calls me downstairs. He gives me 2 pistols, and he tells me, you're going to a strange city, so carry these wherever you go. That was his advice for college for me. So
Okay.
I pack one in my bag, I put one in my waist, and I jump in the car with this DeVry recruiter with a pistol on me and one in my bag on my way up to Columbus.
Fair enough.
Yep. And so I did. I carried it everywhere I went.
Well, I mean, after what you've witnessed, like, I'm
Exactly.
sure you're probably thinking, like, yeah, I might need this thing.
I might need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was scared.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
There was 1,000 fears running through me coming to a new city, never been on my own.
By
I'm 18
yourself.
years old. He drops me off downtown Columbus in this furnished hole. I'll just say, it was a terrible place, but
Really?
yeah. And so I start school, and then I meet a guy from Cincinnati that I knew, and he has a house up here on campus.
Okay.
And it was a frat house, basically, 4 or 5 guys that went to OSU.
Okay.
And so I moved in with them, and they're getting ready to go to a party one night. And so they're going to the store, and they say, come on, ride with us. And I'm like, okay, let's go to the store. So we go to the store. They're all buying liquor. And they tell me, get a drink. Get your bottle. And I'm like, no, I don't drink. Get a bottle. No, I don't drink. Just get one. So I didn't even know what to grab. I grabbed
Yeah.
a pink champagne.
Okay.
We go back to the place, and I remember it like it was yesterday, man. I'm sitting there holding it. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to do this. But I need to fit in. I'm here at this crossroads.
That's always what it is, man. Fitting in and belonging.
Yes.
Always.
Yes. So I crack it. I drink it. I pass out. I don't even get to the party. They go to the party. They're laughing at me. But, man, like we was talking a little right before we started, that feeling, man,
That was it.
that was what I wanted for the rest of my life, And I know people talk about, it goes gradually.
Mm-hmm.
And it did for me, but the thoughts didn't. My thought was every day on drinking.
You're planning
I couldn't
everything
wait till
around.
Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I started drinking on like Thursday to get ready,
Thirsty
and
Thursday.
Yes. And
Yep.
it went very quickly for me to every single day.
Really.
Yes. Because I could be whatever I wanted to be.
Yeah.
I could be a ladies' man and get all the women because I wasn't scared to talk. I could be Scarface and sell this drug without any conscious. I could do whatever I wanted to do under the influence of alcohol, and I just wanted it every day.
Yeah, and you're in a new place.
Yes.
You can be a new person.
Yes.
And create this character, whatever you want to be. We're chameleons. I
Yep.
mean, that's what we are.
Yes.
We can fit in anywhere.
Yes.
Sounds like that's what you did. So
exactly what I did.
how long did it take for you to get to the point where you're drinking every single day?
I want to say a month,
Jesus.
maybe a month, 2 months at the most. Yeah. And it escalated really quick to the point where I failed out of school.
Shit.
The guys kicked me out of the house because I started getting
Too much.
too much, and I started becoming violent a little bit
Really?
and getting into different things. Like I was on a dance party at OSU back then, and you know how they do the line stepping, the
Yeah.
fraternities?
Yeah.
I jumped in and started stepping with them. Oh, man, they tackled me, threw me down. They was beating the shit out of me. I had my gun on me. I'm trying to get it out. And my friends came and grabbed me real quick and took
For dancing?
the fraternities, though, doing the stepping.
So you're
I just jump in and
you're
start.
not supposed to be a part of that.
I'm not in a fraternity. And they beat me.
They didn't like that.
Oh, they beat me pretty good. They tackled me, jumped on me, kicking me, and I had this zip up hoodie, and I had the zipper here. My gun was right here,
Pistols.
and I'm trying to grab it while they're kicking me and hitting me, and my friends like kind of grabbed them off of me, grabbed me up, took me out of there real quick, because I probably would have shot them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we was at this other party, and it's a house party, so we get out, and I got to pee, or my friend got to pee. So he runs down the street to pee. And we're waiting, it's taking a little while. And so I start walking down the street, and this guy got a gun to his head. So I take out my gun.
Your buddy's head.
My buddy's head. So I take out my gun and put it to his head and say, drop it. And he's looking, and I'm like, all through my mind is what's going through my mind is what my dad told me in the basement. If you pull it out, you better use it. So I had it to his head. He wasn't stopping, so I clicked it twice. And we started scrapping. Everything got out of there. I took the gun to the gun shop, and 2 bullets jammed in the barrel.
Damn. So you pulled the trigger fully
ready to do.
You were gonna murder this man. I was
out of my mind. Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
And when I took it to the gun shop, the gun shop owner told me there was 2 bullets in there. He's like, "You're lucky to even have a right arm." He was like, "This should have blew your right arm off."
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I put 2 bullets right back to back, and he said that should have blew your right arm off. You shouldn't have an arm. So I could have either killed that man.
You could have
not have
both,
a right arm.
Both, yeah.
But I'm here talking to you, so.
Jesus, man.
Yeah, so it escalated very, very quickly for me in my addiction.
Did you start divulging in other substances at any point?
Marijuana heavy at this time, too.
Okay.
So marijuana quickly became daily as well, smoking and drinking. And then when I got homeless, when them guys put me out, I hung around a little while, couch surfing, and then I went back to Cincinnati. That's where I got my first DUI. Me and some buddies went over to Kentucky over the river to get some bottles because you could get them cheaper over there.
Okay.
And we was drinking all day, and I remember driving. I was driving, and then I blacked out, but I remember a flashback of me in the back seat and listening to music and drinking, and there was a couple of us in the back seat, and then I blacked out again. And the next thing I remember, red and blue lights. And I got a 40 in my lap when the cop pulls up and I'm drinking it. The bottles are all over the car.
Oh, yeah.
The front of my car, it was an old Grand Capri with a metal bumper. The bumper was in a V sticking straight in the air. And this cop pulls me out, and he's yelling at me, and there's a couple more pull up, and they're like, "What did you hit? What did you hit?" And I'm standing there like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't know, And so, I don't do the breathalyzer. Obviously, I'm just like, take me to jail.
Yep.
But I wind up staying there for like 6-7 days. They didn't know if I killed anybody or not or what I hit, and I still to this day don't know. I don't know if I hit them, if somebody else was driving and just put me in the seat. I don't know what went on.
What happened
that whole night. But that was one of the most scariest things of my life, not knowing if I...
Especially sitting in jail,
yes.
Like waiting.
Yes.
What was jail like for you? Your first experience with jail?
Man, it was scary,
Scary
I'm
as
18
fuck,
years
isn't it?
old,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had, there was a time in my life that we, when we moved to Cincinnati, that we didn't have anything. And so I started stealing out of necessity. I started stealing clothes. To survive, clothes, selling clothes. And I did that all the way to 18. So I had been to jail a few times as a juvenile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had been to jail a few times as a juvenile for stealing. But like I said, I was doing that because I had to. I didn't have anything to wear.
Right.
And I was trying to get money and doing whatever I could. So, but yeah, my dad picked me up from the DUI, and me and him almost fought in the parking lot. He had the nerve to.
He was pissed.
He had the nerve to talk about, he had several DUIs, but
give me a break, Dad.
Yeah, give me a break.
Yeah.
But he didn't want that from me, and
Right.
I understand now, but I didn't understand at the time. But
did that change anything for you? Like after you got out of jail? I mean, were you thinking like, let me slow down? Should I do something different?
Speed it up. I drank every day of my life for 26 years and drove. And that's something that really hit me hard when I got sober, because I was watching TV, having my morning coffee, watching the news, and somebody went the wrong way on the highway. And I did that before.
Really?
I have. And so and then I started thinking like, man, I drank every day with people in the car, my kids in the car, family in the car. Never gave it a thought back then.
Yeah, you could have hurt,
I could have killed
yourself, somebody.
Yes.
Jesus, man.
Remember that time when you drove the wrong way on the highway?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Just coming from, we're just out partying, and like I got a buddy in the car, and like we're just looking where we're going, get on the exit, and I'm driving down, and I'm like,
What?
shit, I see lights. He's like, dude, we're on the wrong side of the highway. I'm like, oh, so I get over an emergency lane, and I'm going real slow as far as I can to get to that next exit to get off. And I did make it off, but like, yeah, we're just cruising, and he's like, dude, we're on the wrong side.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
like,
seeing
oh.
not brake lights.
No,
you're
we're seeing
fucking
headlights coming at us. And so I got onto the emergency lane, and I went slow as I could all the way to the next
No
exit.
cops, no police.
Thank God.
Thank God. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Thank God.
So you said it sped up after jail.
Yes.
So tell me what you mean by that. And
Just
your life, I guess, the next couple years.
yeah. So I lived my life exactly how I wanted. Like, I did whatever I wanted to do when I wanted to do it, and I didn't care who got hurt or anything about that. Right. So just the partying, relationship to relationship. I'm having kids at this point. I have 6 children.
Do you?
3 different women.
Wow.
So I'm just, I'm the type that would get off work on Friday, go party with the guys, and come home Sunday when I'm with my girlfriend or something and say, what's for dinner? Like nothing happened. Like I just
Like
did,
you hadn't been gone.
like
for
I haven't been gone, nothing. Like
3 days.
like I just seen you yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, I would come in, what's for dinner? Let's go, but and just being reckless like that, getting in fights, I start becoming more violent, and just going to jail back and forth for child support, for different things like that, and then I started getting hip to, if I just tell them I'm addicted, they'll send me to treatment. Like this is back in the 90s. It just started. So every time I would go to the judge, I'd be like, yeah, I'm addicted, man. I need help. Right.
Yep.
And I've actually like graduated 3 programs drinking the whole time.
Really?
Yeah.
Like drug court type programs, or like?
Well, back then it wasn't that. You
what,
would just
like halfway house.
Yeah,
type
just
things?
like yeah. I did first couple. I did outpatients,
Okay.
and then I did inpatient. But I didn't drink on the inpatient. But the outpatients, I would leave the outpatient meeting, crack a beer on the ride home, and
Well, because you can get alcohol out of your system.
Yeah.
Even if you're getting drug tested, you can get that shit out of your system so fast.
Yeah.
It's easy to get away with.
Yes.
Booze, at least.
yes, sir.
Yeah. Unless you can't put it down.
Yeah. I can't put it down.
Then it gets...
I stopped smoking, though, on those times. Like, I was able to stop smoking weed during those times I was in treatment, in and out. But I never could stop drinking, and I only went to these places to get out of trouble, or sometimes I went to treatment because I wanted to save a relationship, or my kids would come to me.
Get people off your back.
My kids would come to me and say, Dad, and I'd feel bad, go, but one time I told the judge, like, I had found God, and I knew of this Celebrate Recovery program. So I told the judge I found God, and would he allow me to go to that, because I'm religious now. I didn't know God at all. There's never a Bible in my house. I never was introduced to church or anything at this point in my life. So he says, yes, that'd be great. So I go to this Celebrate Recovery class, man, and I'm like going through it. I'm drinking the whole time. And with that, they ask you to go to church on Sunday. So I go to church, and I'm feeling it, but I'm manipulating the whole thing. And so at the end, when I graduate, I get a coin and stuff, and the guy comes to me and says, I would like you to stand in front of the church and tell, how God helped you recovery.
Oh, boy.
Right. So it's a Sunday morning. I'm drunk and high, and I go up in front of this church, and I say, God saved my life. This Celebrate Recovery program saved my life, and it's so amazing. And the whole time I'm just lying.
Just a huge lie.
Lying and manipulating. But what that did do for me was introduce me to a higher power, because I never knew about God beforehand.
Right.
And never been to church or anything. So that did introduce me, oh, there's a God. Okay, who is this?
There's something.
There's something,
Yeah.
So while I thought I was manipulating the system, and I was, my higher power was kind of manipulating me too, and saying, okay, you can do this, but
introduction.
yeah, I'm going to introduce you to something.
Yeah. So with you doing all this in the 80s and 90s, crack was huge back then.
Yes.
Did you ever divulge in crack? Did you ever come across crack?
Yes.
Smoke crack?
Yes. came across it. We sold out cocaine and crack, but we would, like I said, we'd be snorting a line and saying, "Look at this crackhead."
Okay.
You know,
So you'd
or
be snorting cocaine
snorting cocaine
and
like
selling the crack.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Or we'd put it on our weed, primos, and smoke
Yep,
primos, and
yep.
we'd be like, "Oh, look at this crackhead." It was a stigma in our neighborhood about crackheads. They was the lowest of the low, so we couldn't be that, but we was doing just as much cocaine as them. So.
Right. And it's the same drug.
Same drug, yeah.
Same effect, really.
Yeah.
I mean, well, kind of.
Right. But I did, cocaine allowed me to drink longer. I could drink all night,
all
buddy.
night,
Yeah,
all day. You could drink all day.
Everywhere. Yeah, 24, 48 hours. I'm going. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I remember in high school taking a bunch of Adderall, and I mean, it's an upper, it's not cocaine, but I remember I could just drink and drink and drink and drink and drink and like just not stop. It didn't matter. I could just crush beers.
Yeah.
Like it was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So let's keep moving forward here. Let's see. You in and out of jail. Did you ever go to prison?
No.
No prison?
Nope. Always manipulated. Like I said, I'm addicted. I need treatment, and it always worked. Yeah. And so then we fast forward like to the, I'm in this apartment, right? I got a futon, a kitchen table and chairs, and a TV. And I'm just drinking.
This is your place?
Yeah, this is my place. I'm drinking nonstop. Can't hold a job at this point. 1 year I got like 13 W-2s. That shows when it was tax time.
Jesus.
Yeah, I couldn't hold a job at this point, and it's just I'm down. I got eviction notice on the door. It's around Christmas time.
Oh.
And a female friend of mine that I had been dealing with, she called me and said, "Hey, this church is giving away food. Go over there and get some food. They're giving it away." And this was like, 9, 10 in the morning. I'm already drinking. I didn't have a car. And so I was like, I don't know. I'm all right. Don't worry about food. I probably hadn't eaten in days, probably hadn't showered in days. I'm just drinking and smoking at this point. And so finally she convinced me. She kept calling back. So I borrowed a neighbor's car. And I jump in this car and I start heading over to this church. And I get to the church, and they're welcoming. They welcome me in, and they're like feeding me, and they're talking about my kids, and they're like giving me. Now I'm 44 years old at this point, and they're giving me like crayons and Hot Wheels for my kids for Christmas, which God bless them.
Super nice.
It's super nice, but like I'm thinking to my head, like this is where I'm at. Like I don't have anything for my kids for Christmas.
At 44.
At 44 years old, I'm in a church getting food. And so this lady comes to me and she's like, "Do you need to talk? Is there anything you need to talk about? Are you okay?" And I didn't really realize why at the time, but I mean, I'm 210 now. I weighed 160 when I went into treatment last time.
Damn.
I was jaundiced.
How tall are you?
I'm 6 foot.
Okay.
Yeah. I was jaundiced.
Yellow.
And I hadn't showered in days, so. And I said, that was the first time in my life that I ever said this out loud and meant it. I said, I'm an alcoholic and I need help. I've said it many times throughout my life, always to manipulate or to joke or to whatever. But that day when I said it, I meant it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she said, "Come on down to my office. Let's talk." She took me down there. She was in recovery. She had 6 years clean.
Nice. Yeah,
and she had all these resources, and she was like, "I can help you." She was like, "You can get your life back. You can stop this." And I was like, "I don't know. This is all I know. This is who I am. How?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "You can."
That's the hardest part. Is I remember being like towards the end being passively suicidal. So like I wanted to go, but I was too much of a coward to do it myself.
Ooh.
And I wanted to quit, but I had no idea how.
No idea.
And no
well
clue.
Said. Yes.
Like, you know what I mean?
That's exactly where I was.
And I believe it's referred to as the jumping off point, what I just described. And like I had no idea what to do or how to get clean. So for you to walk into that church and run into that lady with 6 years.
Yeah.
intervention.
That's exactly how I felt. You described it to a T. I didn't know how to stop, but I wanted to so badly. And on the way there, I was. This was the first time in my life I ever thought about suicide. I was gonna run headfirst into a truck, and I planned it on the way there. I wasn't even gonna make it to that church.
Really?
Yes, but you know what stopped me? A little voice in my head said, "Don't wreck your neighbor's car. It's Christmas. Don't tear their car up. They let you borrow it.
Not your car.
It's not my car." And so I made it to the church. But then she started telling me about all these places she could get me help and all this, and she gave me a number to a treatment center. And so I started calling them, and they didn't have a bed for a couple of days, and they said, "Don't stop drinking," which that wasn't a problem. But I kept drinking and waiting and calling. And then I got to the point where I was like, I ain't calling them no more. They don't want to help me. Tomorrow, I'm stopping.
Seemed like it,
yeah. I said, tomorrow, I'm stopping. I'm doing it on my own. I ain't drinking no more. I'm going to get a job. I'm changing my life.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I pass out. The first thing I do in the morning is get up and go crack a beer to the refrigerator. That's when the light went on for me, like, you don't control this.
Yeah, I got no control.
I got no control over this.
At all.
At all. And that scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, it is scary. It's when you're in it that deep, you're almost autopiloting. I remember I'd be going to cop drugs, driving, not wanting to do it, not wanting to go. Yeah. And yet I'm still I couldn't, it's like my body was on autopilot.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like when you woke up that morning and cracked that beer, you're just autopiloting around like, gotta get my beer.
Yes.
Got to.
Yeah, and that's when the light came on. I said, man, I don't control this no more. Or if I ever did.
Yeah.
You know? And so I called that treatment center. Finally, we got a bed for you.
Talk to me about the alcohol withdrawals when you went to detox, because I have never detoxed off of alcohol, and I know it's brutal. Would you get the shakes?
Yes.
You had the shakes?
I had the shakes, sweats, and just... the mind games that is the worst for me. Like you said, at in those stages, I don't want it, but I gotta have it. And if I don't have it, all these things are gonna happen to me.
Right.
And it's like, man. So I had it, and then when I went to the detox, they kept me pretty drugged up. The first 3-4 days. Back then it was Valium. So they had me on Valium for the first 3 or 4 days,
which is necessary
to keep me alive.
Yeah.
The doc, they told me if I hadn't stopped, I'd be dead in a couple months. Yeah.
You were I was bad off.
Yeah. And also, I lit up the whole panel on the drug screen. And look, I said, I don't do no drugs. I only do alcohol. That's how far in denial I was. Like, I told him, like, I'm an alcoholic. That's it. I don't do no other drugs. That test is wrong. Every drug imaginable was in there. So, and I know I had been, this was the blackout stage right before this, because I had been running with a couple new guys that I had met, and they had pills, and I started doing pills real heavy, Xanax. So at this point, I would lose weeks drinking with Xanax.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
God.
They would tell me, I'd wake up out of a blackout, and they'd be telling me all these things I'd done, and like Percocets I was doing, and all these things. But yeah, it was a really dark time, probably the last 6 months before I went into treatment, because I didn't really know these guys, but I was running with them.
Yeah,
they had what I needed.
What you needed.
And so it got real heavy at that time. And
yeah, so, Xanax and alcohol together are, the worst. The worst idea. Like
the worst idea.
Because you lose everything. You can lose weeks, months.
Yes.
Like if you have the means to.
Yeah.
Wow. And so is this your first trip? This isn't your first trip to treatment, but this is your first, like, I want to go to treatment.
I want to go.
Okay.
I'm ready.
So how does it go?
So I get there, I do detox, and it's I stay the whole 30 days, and I commit myself. I say, I'm going to try this I'm going to give it 100%. And if it don't work, I know how to go drink, right?
Yeah.
That's
always go back.
I can always go back. The drinks are waiting on me. So I said, I got to try, or I'm going to die. So I did, man. I treated it like a classroom. I wrote everything down. I sat in the front row. I went to every group. every meeting. And, I was also, I got court ordered to AA one time, and I hated AA. Though you're not like me. I'm not an alcoholic. I beat up a first sponsor I ever had.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not this.
What happened? What happened there?
Trying to tell me what to do, and I'm just like, I don't.
Well, that's their job. that's the sponsor's
But I'm not
job.
like him. I'm not like you, man. I'm not an alcoholic. Stop telling, So I'd go in and get my slip sign, sit in the back.
Yep.
But also, once again, my higher power played a trick on me with that too, because now I know where to go when I do want to get sober. Right? I didn't want nothing to do with them then, but now I'm dying.
When the time
Help
comes.
me. Yeah. And so I went to every AA meeting while I was in the treatment center, did good, graduated, and I was getting ready to move into sober living. And they was taking me back to the old neighborhoods, which that's what they are. They mostly are in the neighborhoods we use in, which is
shit neighborhoods.
Yes,
always.
Yeah, so I was scared to death, and I got a phone call about second to the last day that I was getting out, and it was my mother, and I hadn't talked to her in a long time because she was tired of me. She was tired of the stuff I was taking her through and different things, and so we just stopped talking, and it was her on the phone. And she said, are you serious this time? And I said, Ma, I don't know if I'll ever drink again, but I don't want to. And she said, okay, I'm going to come get you, and you can come up here, live with me for 1 year. But any slip up of any kind, if I catch you drinking anything, you're gone.
Out.
Yeah. And so I came up here, and she went to the, can I say any names on here?
Yeah, whatever you want.
Okay, so she went to Desert Island Club, bless her heart, my mom. Yep. We lived right there in the hilltop. She walked in there and said, my son will be here in a couple days. Grab hold to him.
Don't let go.
Keep him sober.
Yeah.
Bless her heart. My mom's 78 now, so I love her to death. But and I did. I went to the Desert Island every day. I walked up there.
That's right on Sullivan Avenue, too.
Yeah, right on Sullivan. Got a sponsor.
Didn't beat him up this time.
Nope.
Okay,
great
good.
sponsor,
That's
great
good.
man. Rest in peace. He's since passed on, but I told him all the time, you saved my life, because he really did. AA saved my life. Just going there every day to fellowship, working the steps. I went to a meeting or two every day for like 2 years, 3 years. Yeah, every single day.
That's not, and it's funny because I remember I got court ordered to 90 and 90, and I was like, "There's no way,
right?
How the fuck am I supposed to do 90 and 90? Like it sounded impossible."
Yes,
but it's just an hour.
It's just an hour.
It's an hour out of your day.
Out of your day.
Like and we're very lucky in Columbus. The recovery community is massive, obviously, because Akron is where AA was born.
Yep.
So it's not hard to find a meeting from 7 a.m. all the way up to midnight.
Yes.
Yes. Plenty of options.
Plenty.
But it seemed like such an insurmountable thing to do 90 meetings in 90 days. I remember thinking, like, there's no fucking way I can do this. And I did it, of course. And I remember after I did it, it was like I was in such a good headspace.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I have to imagine you felt the same way after 2 or 3 years of going every day. Like you had to be in a pretty good headspace.
Yeah. So that whole first year, I wanted to drink every day,
Really?
Yes.
Battling cravings,
battling just the lifestyle, just having to be quiet and sit down and, in a new area. And, I did. And I'm honest about that, because I know some people are like they had that aha moment and then the cravings went away and things like that. But man, that whole first year was a struggle. And the things that it's funny you say that because the 90 and 90, the little coins that you get each month, those kept me going, man. And my sponsor and my mother, those three motivations. Like I didn't want to let my mother down. My sponsor, he was real active with me and working the steps and stuff. And then I wanted those coins. I wanted 12 of them and get that metal one, you know? So those are the things that kept me that first year because I just wanted to drink, man. I missed it so much. It was my life.
Isn't that crazy?
It was like grieving a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
grieving the death of your best friend.
Yes.
It really is.
You can compare it to those things, man. I wanted it so bad.
God.
And and that's so bad in my mind, I wanted to do it the right way, right? Like, I wanted to be able to
drink like a gentleman.
Yeah, drink like a gentleman. You know,
have a couple,
have a 6-pack with the game, and I'm good. That's fine. But but at this point, I knew that ain't me. I could never do that. I did know that, because I've tried before, and it just never.
No, it never works.
No, it never works out.
My last drunk, I planned on taking. I found a bottle of gin in the freezer. It was around the 4th of July, and I planned on having 2 drinks. And I remember, like, my heart and my soul and my head and I believed I could do it. I believed I could have 2.
Yeah.
I drank the whole fucking bottle.
Yeah.
I could not control it.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was my last drunk. But it's like we think maybe one day I can have, one with the game or one with a steak.
Yeah.
We can't.
No.
We can't. There's no off button.
Yeah. And even to this day, I mean, like, I'm 15 years sober now, but
congrats.
Thank you. But even to this day, the thought pops in, hey, 6-pack with the game would be great. And I just answer myself like, yes, it would, but I wouldn't stop there.
Yeah. No.
And I know I wouldn't.
Yeah.
So
fleeting thoughts at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the last real craving I had, it was the most bizarre shit ever. Alcohol was always a bonus for me. Mm-hmm. So it was like I was a full-on junkie, all drugs, anything I could put in my body. Yeah. But I remember I went to this nice restaurant, and these 2 old women were drinking some, like, a white wine. And, like, the way that the light was hitting their wine glasses, I was like, man, I never got to drink in a nice restaurant. That I could do that. I could have 1 glass of white wine. Like, that's the insanity of this fucking disease.
Yes.
Like, no, I would have ended up drinking an entire bottle of wine and then going to get some fucking whatever I really wanted.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's funny you say that, because early in my recovery, I thought, like, well, the doctor said a glass of wine a day is good for the heart.
Yeah.
So I can do that.
I've heard that, yeah. Yeah.
It can't, and I'm thinking, like, I can do that. I can have a glass of wine. That wasn't what I really drank anyway, but we all know how those end. So, yeah. So, the first year, and then I just continued. And then I was working these jobs. I was getting, and no offense to anybody that has any type of job, but, like, I worked the warehouse jobs, and I got a job through a temp service, and so I worked there for like a whole year, and they said at the end of that year they had to either hire you or let you go. Yep. And so I worked the whole year. I did good. I never missed work. I got promoted a couple times, and at the end they let me go. And so I was. They said I wasn't the face of their company. That, by the way, so I don't know what that means, but I'll tell you something else about that as we go. But It was between me and this girl, and they said I wasn't the face of the company. So I was pissed, and so
I bet.
And then I went home, and I was like, I'm tired of living the same life, just not with alcohol. You know what I mean? Like, I was working the same job.
Yes.
Yeah, I was working the same job.
I'm so glad you said that. like settling. Like, okay, cool, I'm not drinking, but what the fuck? I'm not doing anything either.
Nothing.
You're just settling for, okay, I'm sober, great.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's nothing else there.
Yep.
No, like, substance to your life.
None. And that's where I was at it.
Fuck that.
I know.
Fuck that.
I know.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I was at that point. You said it great. Like, what the hell? I'm living my same life, but I'm sober. And so I wanted to change. And I went up to Columbus State to go to school. Now, I had failed out of school in DeVry, so I owed a lot of money for the first year and a half or so. And so I went up there, found out, okay, I can pay back some. As long as I give them a card, they can take the money off and get me out of, default. Mm-hmm. And so I did that. I went and got another factory job. I gave them my, cards. They took it off for 6 months, and then they gave me the green light to go back.
Okay.
And so I started at Columbus State in their social and human services, and, I loved it. And I was in class. I was the old guy in class. I'm the oldest one in there.
Oh yeah.
But I absolutely just loved it. And it was opportunity that alcohol robbed from me, my college education. And I always knew I was smart, but at the same time I felt I was dumb, because of the decisions I made in life. But I always knew I had some intelligence in me, but
we mostly are
yeah,
smart. I mean, for the most part. That's normally the problem too. Sometimes is that we're a little too smart and think we can manipulate and outmaneuver.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
Beat the disease.
Yep. So did good in that. Started working in treatment in 2014, and then I went to
where were you working at?
Parkside.
Yeah. Right on.
And then I kept going. I thought I'll just get my associate's degree. I'll work in treatment. I'll be happily ever after.
Cool. Yeah.
And then I just kept going. I went to Indiana Wesleyan, got my bachelor's degree.
Nice.
In social work, and then went to carried on with the program. Got my master's in social work.
Damn.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
So you got some letters now behind your name?
I do.
You got all those letters?
Yeah.
My ex-girlfriend, she was a therapist, and she's got fucking a million letters behind her name. I give her shit for it all the time. Got enough fucking letters yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So where did you land after you got your master's and you got promoted? Like, what were you doing? What was your job?
Therapist and run groups. I love to run groups.
You can make good money being a therapist. Yeah. Really good money.
Yeah. So I love to run in groups and stuff like that. I'm currently a clinical director. So,
really?
I've done a lot of work also with domestic violence and for offenders through the state of Ohio. I facilitated groups doing that, and that was real rewarding for me because of my background and my father and
your mom.
My mom, and so I really love doing that. Anger management, I do some of that. Facilitate groups for that.
Really?
Yeah, just because like some of my anger and some of the, we're angry when our substances are taken away, and that's normal,
Yep.
But I always say, with diagnosis, we gotta, we're all gonna be anxious and depressed and angry, during those first couple of years, even some of us, because you've taken away our coping skills and our identities and all those things that we are. So, I like working in with those type of things, just to let them know that this ain't forever. Depression ain't forever. The anxiety ain't forever.
I was going to ask, did you ever run into any mental health issues, or do you think you were self-medicating?
Yes.
You were?
Yeah.
So you did have underlying mental health issues that...
Yeah, I believe. I was pretty depressed as a child. There was with the bullying and all the things that was going on in the household, and those things. I believe I was pretty depressed, and who wouldn't be anxious around those type of situations? So I don't. And I took medications for like the first year, to combat some of those things. But as recovery evolved. And as I evolved in my recovery, and the longer I got,
you got better.
I learned to cope with the things without these medications.
Yeah.
So that's just my story. But because I didn't want to be on anything, because if I'm doing all this, I just want to be totally be able to live life without anything.
Nothing. Yeah. It's a good feeling.
It is. It is.
No
amazing.
ball and chain. No. Yeah.
Yeah. And to this day, I only take 2 medications, and one is for acid reflux. I messed up, the alcohol messed up my, digestive stuff, and so I take something Prilosec so I don't have heartburn every day, and something for my cholesterol. But I'm pretty healthy otherwise. So
and you're a clinical director today. Where are you doing that at?
At Choices Recovery Center on the west side.
What is it? At Choices? Choices.
Yep.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's on the west side. Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
When did they pop up?
There's centers in Springfield, Toledo.
They've got a bunch of them.
Yeah, a bunch of them. Yeah, I think the Columbus one's been around 5-6 years.
Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What would you tell? Not necessarily a younger you, but that person who is at that jumping off point we discussed, where it's like they want to quit but they don't know how. they're miserable. What would you say to that person if they're watching right now?
Great question. Great question. You have to look at your consequences. If you're at that point, you mean to start drinking or stop?
To stop.
Stop.
To stop. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to break that denial, right? Because that denial is huge, and I was always in denial. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm just in a bad spot in my life right now. I'll turn it around.
Sure.
Things are going on, and I never looked at all these consequences. But it's not only the consequences to us. I took my kids, women, my family, everybody through all these things. And their consequences at some points was greater than mine.
Yeah.
And so I'd say take a look at your life and what these alcohol and drugs, the consequences that you're suffering because of it, right? That helps you get out of that denial and into that acceptance stage. Like, yes, I'm an alcoholic, and that's the real tipping point for me for coming out of that denial, realizing this is causing all these problems in my life. It's really giving me nothing good anymore. No. Yeah, there was party times, and I had some great times on alcohol
good times,
and drugs.
Sure.
I ain't gonna lie now.
Me too. Yeah.
There was some parties for sure. But the consequences are now outweighing all those good times.
Yep.
I got to be able to accept it. And if I don't accept it, I'm never going to be able to move forward.
Yeah, to be able to say I'm alcoholic or I'm an addict is tough.
Yes.
It's a tough thing to accept and do, and even to reach out and ask for help, especially as a man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's real tough.
Breaks us down.
Yeah.
Breaks our whole manhood down.
Yeah.
And I had to start all the way over because everything that I felt that I've learned in life was a lie.
It's crooked. Yeah.
It's crooked.
Yeah.
It's a lie. There's some manipulation or crookedness in all these things that I've learned. And the way I've lived, I had to live a whole nother new life. I had to learn how to live it. And I tell like everybody, everything I did was for the first time when I was sober. Because I've been drunk for 26 years.
Yep.
Driving a car. I'm sober. Sleeping. Brushing. The little things.
Is there anything that happened to you while you were out there where you believe, I mean, I know you talked about driving the wrong way down the highway.
Yeah.
Where you believe you should have lost your life? Or like, was there any situation you found yourself in where like you really thought this is it?
I mean, many times I could have lost my life drinking and driving, and being in bar fights back then, I remember cracking on somebody over the head with a 40-ounce, big brawl breaking out. We're in there, just shit going everywhere. It was at a concert. I mean, just all those type of things. I was just wild. I was angry. I was an angry adult because of my childhood. And all that toxicness and all those things that I've witnessed and all that, it just made me an angry person, and it was hard to get out of that too, because I hated myself, and that's why I drank.
Yeah.
I hated myself, and I hated my life, and I hated the things that I was doing. But alcohol cured all that. When I get drunk, okay, let's go again.
Yeah.
I'm
okay.
I'm okay. These consequences are nothing. I always get out of them. I'll do it again. And so that was the real battle going on with me, the low self-esteem, self-worth, and just hating myself, and just thinking I wasn't worth nothing, living anyway. So you could live with reckless abandon when you don't feel like you should be living anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God. It's quite a story, and you going back to school and that moment where you were like, fuck this, why am I not drinking and doing nothing? I love that because that's how I am.
Yeah.
Like I took the ceiling off a long time ago. Like I can do whatever I want. I believe I can do whatever I want as long as I put my mind to it and stay sober. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And so for you to go back to college and do what you're doing today, is fantastic, to help others. And that's the greatest defense against the drink is helping another alcoholic.
Yeah.
It really is.
Absolutely. And the hardest time I've had in my sobriety is, so 2 years ago, I lost my oldest son. He was murdered in Cincinnati in 2022.
Sorry to hear that.
In broad daylight. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
On the street?
In a gas station parking lot.
Fuck.
Yeah. shot in the back of the head. And that was the toughest day that I've had in my sobriety. And, if completely transparent, I almost relapsed.
What did you do? What was your response to that? You had time, so you knew what to do.
Yes.
But for, again, people out there watching, recovery isn't always perfect.
Right.
Life is still going to happen.
Well said.
So
yes.
What did you do? What was your response? Like, is it double down on meetings? Is it call someone? Is it, what did you do to?
Absolutely. Rallied around the people that care about me. In our addiction, we have 1,000 friends, but none actually.
Yeah.
Right. They're just around until.
Yep.
Just like me, I was too. But in recovery and getting the support system, we have real people around. We get real people around us that love us and care for us. And so I had a lot of great people in my life that when they heard, really rallied around me. So basically, I just had to be me, right? And going through.
Just show up.
And they just show up, and they rallied and carried me through that time. Because, that was I had the fleeing thought when it happened to go drink because the pain was so great. And I've never felt a pain like that. And I don't know, I don't know if I never heal from it. It'll always be there. But I do have great people around me, and I say that. And I always tell people, in recovery, everybody's recovery looks different. Yep. So there's no like one set way to go, or I'm not going to tell you this is how you have to do it. Your recovery is going to look different. But one thing you have to have, and I always say this, is a support system. You cannot short on that.
100%.
You can short on meetings and what sponsors, if that's not your thing, or celebrate recovery, whatever you feel like it looks like. But you got to have a support system.
Got to have somebody.
Got to.
Yeah.
Because we can't do it alone.
When my mom passed away from an overdose, and I remember I was bringing meetings into a correctional facility at the time. Mm. And I went in, I think it was 2 days after she passed, and I literally, in front of the inmates, probably 50 of them, told them what happened and just started fucking bawling my eyes out. But I showed up.
Absolutely.
I showed up, I brought the meeting in, I shared what happened, just so they knew, like, damn, like, bad shit can happen too out there, even if you're sober, And I shared that message, and that helped me a lot. To show up, and do what you're supposed to do.
Yes, I love that.
Do you have any final thoughts or messages you want to send out?
Well, if you're out there struggling, there is hope. You can recover. If a guy like me, a bottom of the barrel drunk and junkie, and some of these things are hard to admit, but if you're in denial, like I had the hardest time admitting that I wasn't a good father, and I wasn't a good father. And, I carry some of that with me with my son. Like, if I was a better father, would he still be here?
That's tough.
Or why didn't I die a long time ago? There was so many times I put myself in position to, why him?
Right.
But he learned everything from me and was following my blueprint, so. But if you're in denial out there, start looking at how your life is and, what things you want to change and how can you get better, because it can be done. And I didn't think it could be 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But here I am today. And
15 years,
15 years.
God.
If you would have asked anybody back in the day that I was running around with it, that I would be sober 15 days, they would have said no.
Laughed.
Yeah, laughed.
Yeah.
And I probably would have too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it can be done. It can be done. Reach out for help, and get the help that you need. And there's good people that want to help too. And I've came across so many great people
Absolutely.
Here in Columbus, just embracing me, and saved my life. I could have never have done it alone.
It's there. The help is there.
It's there. Like you said earlier, Columbus is a great.
It's getting better too.
Yeah.
There's the help is it's there.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
And it's not just in the form of a treatment center, but even the justice system is changing.
Yes.
Massively.
Yes.
Towards helping alcoholics and addicts with drug courts and special docket courts and things like that.
Absolutely.
Instead of just sending someone to prison, you get them help.
Yes.
And
that's the way it should be.
And that's exactly right. That's the way it should be.
That's the way it should be. And we're going to have those that manipulate, and we're going to have
of course.
But we're also going to have those that really are going to come out of this on the other side and really live the life they're supposed to live.
Yeah.
Because we're all destined to live a good life. We should be.
I agree.
Yeah, and so like if you're struggling, get help. Definitely.
I agree. Well, listen, man, thank you for taking the time to come out and share today. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure chatting with you.
Yeah, thank you guys, man. I like I said, I came across your stuff on YouTube. I was watching. I was like, man, I like this. I like what you guys are doing and giving this platform and sharing because we need more like this. Because I used to love going to lead meetings at AA.
Yeah,
I loved them.
Yeah,
and hearing people's stories. So I wanted to be a part of it, man. And
yeah, you can look for the similarities. The similarities, not the differences. And this platform enables anybody to do that.
Yes.
They can sit and listen to your story and say, oh, yeah, me too, me too. Yeah.
Yeah, and you never know what you're going to say that's going to strike with somebody.
Yep.
It could be the simplest thing, but it'll strike with them. Because when that lady told me she was in recovery for 6 years, it clicked for me.
At the church.
She did it.
Yeah.
I can do it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
That's it.